Hello dance lovers, my name is Carmen. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to review LA Dance Project's Romeo and Juliet. It was super inspirational and just a wonderful production combining a lot of contemporary mediums in order to kind of pay ode to the Shakespeare story. I thought I would make a little video review. This is my first one, so let's get into it. It was starring the dancers Kate Jacobson as Juliet, Peter Mazurowski, so sorry for butchering that, as Romeo, and Shu Kinouchi as Mercutio. So I'm going to start off breaking down the stage production that really enhanced this performance and brought it to the next level. The first thing I would like to talk about is the cameraman. It was a little distracting at first because he wasn't a dancer, but later I understood when I saw how intricate the camera work was and the transitions throughout the show. It just was truly a beautiful execution of how they incorporated cinema into this, and it's insane to think it was all live. I don't know the author of this review because I don't have access to Los Angeles time. It also made me think about the job of the dancer. They constantly shifted between stage and screen performances. When they were being filmed off stage, they paid more attention to their facial expressions and movement quality, like how their fingers slowly curled or their hands swiftly raised. When they returned to the stage, the movement became grander, directing their attention towards the audience instead of a small lens. It was like watching a movie. Your concentration lies in the acts unfolding before you, and I found myself more invested in the little details of facial expression, gesture, and motif to inform me of the events. Besides the use of the camera, the whole back of the stage was exposed. There was no curtain wings, so dancers would either enter through the back door as if they were walking into the scene. Besides using the backstage, they went outside, in the hallways outside of the auditorium, in the boiler room. It was crazy. An example of this would be during the classic Romeo and Juliet music, the dun 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 dun. Screen showed a back room that had a projector displaying moving patterns of light against a dark backdrop. It felt very dark and futuristic. Instead of the dramatic meeting of the families, it was an ensemble of dancers with sharp modern movement qualities like some hip-hop isolation going in and out of the camera. They were playing more of the texture of the music and how overpowering it feels. While we can see this dark, futuristic setting with the intense choreography executed from the dancers, Romeo and Juliet danced in the open space. In my opinion, it was such an interesting representation of the tension that forms towards Romeo and Juliet. It felt like Romeo and Juliet were in their own secluded world, and that is how young love feels like for the first time. I did not mention this, but this version of the story was a more modern Romeo and Juliet. It told a story about society rejection within social norms rather than just family disapproval. Besides all the camera close-ups, there was also the bird's eye view. It was a beautiful camera angle to watch all the figures moving in space, switching partners. It made me appreciate the form of the dancers, such as how square their hips were, expansive arms and port-de-bras, how smooth their turns were. Another aspect of the stage production was lighting. The death scene lighting though. It had harsh yellow lights in the back of the boiler room that were dimmed. The boiler room had an industrial vibe. The whole setting felt like an end after they had been exploring this whole venue. The open stage, the outside, up and down the staircases, and then they're in this eerie back room. I really enjoyed that because the outside duet, my favorite part of the show, had a very modern landscape, and so the death scene being this really creepy boiler room, that was such a good touch. I feel like all the different locations that this production utilized and the camera room made me feel more like a spectator to this really depressing, messed up love story. The screen on stage showing Romeo and Juliet scenes was a way for those two lovers to have intimacy, being alone, dancing, then running away from the audience. It really created a different dynamic, but we as the audience got to peek in a bit. They also used mirrors in this production. They played a lot with perspective. The mirrors really helped showing the complex relationships some characters had with Romeo and Juliet. The cameraman would be backstage showing a character looking away from the mirror, even though we can see their reflection as audience members. And the character would be focusing from a side angle, looking at a dancer on stage, dancing in the large space. I'm just gonna praise the dancers in this company because they are phenomenal. Juliet, who was played by Kate Jacobson, was very giddy and lively, which was so infectious. I was sitting about third row, so I can just really feel the energy she was putting into this character. And Peter, who played Romeo, also did a great job at showing the desperate love that he had for Juliet. He had extremely strong technique as well. The star of the show was the man who played Mercutio. I believe you pronounce his name Shu, please correct me if I'm wrong, but he was phenomenal. He really presented Mercutio as the standalone character, larger than life, that kind of messes around a lot, is flamboyant. I swear he would do a split jump every few seconds, had really nice height, control, lots of energy. I never heard him landing from where I was sitting. And Mercutio, the dancer who played him Shu, did a great job of flowing out of the softer romantic moments and brought a lot of energy lifting it up and making it entertaining. Meanwhile, Romeo and Juliet always slowed down the tempo a bit when they came on, showing the longing of love. Every single dancer was classically trained. The dancers had amazing technique that complemented the heightened emotions very nicely. The choreography was excellent. There's lots of details in the isolation of cannons. Sometimes there would just be a simple port de bras versus crazy explosive changing pathways. I have to also give a shout out to the death scene. First, it was just a pill that Juliet took, and then they brought out the knife, a little fake knife. And when Juliet then went to go stab herself after Romeo, you can see the knife going in her. I can hear the clicking that she had to do to turn off the blade, but she timed this so well. She did a full contraction as she put the knife in her, something you have to see for yourself. So I saw the hetero version of a man and a woman playing Romeo and Juliet, the classic. They also had a version with 2 male dancers and then another one with 2 women. I thought that was really awesome. Also just goes once again with the theme of making it a more modernized version. I would be really curious to see how exactly the partnering worked with those versions. Thank you so much for watching this review. Please subscribe to this channel. I make videos about healing your relationship with ballet, dance workouts, dance video essays. I'm very passionate about this and would love if you can support me on this project. I'm wishing you a beautiful day. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.